And we are live. Hello, everybody. Welcome to Jason Hebert Live. If you are not familiar with the channel, what we do here is interview the loved ones of missing persons in an effort to help spread awareness, help bring them home. We also interview the loved ones of unsolved homicides to try to help bring justice to their families, too. So if you know anybody who has a missing person in their family or is the victim of an unsolved homicide, feel free to go ahead and give me shoot me an email. My contact information is always in the description below, and we can set up a show to help get the story out there. It's been quite a while that we've been away, so we're kind of clawing our way up from the depths. It's been about 2 years since we were consistently doing this show, although I got to say I'm very happy so far. Looks like they haven't hit the counter yet. It only shows a couple people, but we got a lot of people in the chat. Hello to Done in Darkness, Lance Jones, and Done in Darkness is Angie. It's our friend Angie. If you've been here for a while, I'm sure you know her. Check out her channel. It's awesome. Hey, Orlando. We got Marissa, Mary, Cheryl. Wow, a lot of my regulars. Chris, Cat Lover, Liberate Your Mind. We got quite a few people in there. Hey, Elaine. Hey, what's up, sweetheart? How are you? But yeah, that's what we do here is we take cases from people that are struggling, from families that are hurting, try to help get the word out there. So if you know any cases like that, you can always email me. Again, all my contact information is below in the description. You just have to expand it. It says see more or show more, and you can go ahead and contact me that way. Tonight, we have a case that is out of Tamaqua, Pennsylvania. We have the girlfriend of Jesse Farber. Jesse was together with his girlfriend Rachel for, I believe, about 8 years. They have 2 children together. And before we get started, I'm going to do what we usually do here, and I'm going to read you a little blurb to give you an idea of the case. This was actually written by Rachel herself. The link to the website is also below in the description. I think it says Bring Home Jesse Farber webpage. You can also find the link to the Facebook page as well as our Be United Missing Persons friends are there. And there's a lot of awesome links down there, as well as you can support the channel by expanding the description. Anything you'd like is there. My Facebook page, my group, my Missing Persons group. So we got a lot of awesome stuff down there. Just expand the description. You can check it out. So Jesse Farber-Rex went missing on August 11th, 2015 in Tamaqua, Pennsylvania under mysterious circumstances. Jesse called me, his girlfriend Rachel, at 8:43 p.m. saying he was in the mountain behind the school. He told me he was in a tree and 10 to 11 coyotes were after him. He told me to bring guns and that his phone was about to die. He switched his location from the high school to the elementary school mountain and then back to the high school. So he seemed to be a little unsure about where he was. When I asked him for sure where he was, he said the high school mountain. Just as I asked him for his exact location and he started to speak, his phone hung up. I called back immediately many times with no luck. Within 5 minutes, I was on that mountain, spending hours searching and yelling for him, also with no luck. I called police and he was immediately reported as missing. There have been many searches, including a search of an air shaft, underwater searches performed on foot with search dogs, drones, and military helicopters. Supposedly, his book bag was later found in a tree on the mountain, but I have reasons to believe it was planted and may not even belong to Jesse. There are many theories and rumors involved with Jesse's case. I try to spread awareness and look for anyone's help. Jesse and I share 2 young children who suffer from his disappearance every day. If anyone has any information or can help in any way to push this case forward, it will be greatly appreciated. Anonymous tips are welcome. Please help us to bring Jesse home. Thank you. And again, the link to that page is in our description under our video here. The reason it would be good for you to go is there was a lot more than what I just read on the page. There's even a timeline, very nicely put together, I might add, which kind of goes from August 1st, 2015, where she writes, Jesse and I separated after a disagreement about money. Jesse started staying at his grandmother's in a camper in Lewistown Valley. He was still involved with his children daily. We also talked every day through text, phone calls, and still spent time together. That was August 1st. The next entry is August 8th, and it kind of goes on from there, just kind of telling the story bit by bit, piece by piece, which is exactly what you want in these cases, is to have a timeline like that. So I have to say, very, very well done. There's also pictures. There's a forum. There's articles. And there is more here, resources, blogs. So very, very well put together website. I welcome everyone to check it out. We are going to bring on Rachel today. Cat Lover says, oh my gosh, I remember this now. It sounds like she is. And Cheryl B says, I do as well. So you guys are familiar with the case, huh? Huh. Hey, Marissa. Chris, what's up, Chris? Okay, so let's go ahead and bring on Rachel. She is having some technical difficulties with her camera, so she is going to be joining us just by audio tonight, but the audio works very well. We can hear her perfectly, so please forgive me for the technical issues, but we were able to get her on one way or another, so we got her via telephone. Hey, Rachel.
Hey, Jason.
Hey, thank you so much for your patience waiting for me there, and thank you for joining us tonight.
Thank you for having me.
No problem. First off, obviously, I'm so sorry for what you and his family are going through. It's very different being on your side versus what I do here. So I always try to empathize with you guys and let you know that I'm here for anything you need, whether it be this interview here, talking to me on Facebook, or anything later. So just know that you're not alone here. We have a whole community of people that will watch this video now and try to help you out. So our thoughts and prayers are with you. No problem. Do you want to start? Maybe you can tell us a little bit, quick little summary of, how you guys met and your kind of early relationship kind of things. I know you were together for a while, and then you can kind of fast forward to, I know there are some points you want to cover leading up to his disappearance that you feel may play a part. So just kind of give us a quick little introduction, and then we'll go into all the relevant events regarding his disappearance.
Me and Jesse met when we were teenagers. I think I was about 15. So me and Jesse were pretty close friends for a few years before we decided to be in a relationship. And so we were very close. And in other words, I kind of like grew up with him in many ways because we went from being kids and then we were adults. We got our first apartment together. We had our first child together, and, becoming parents together, just everything like that. For a while, everything was really well. We got along good. Being friends for a long time, we enjoyed a lot of the same things, same hobbies, same interests. And we really never had any problems. Everything was great. We ended up having another child in 2014. And before anything started happening as for the money missing, I'd say it was the end of the year in 2013 when these issues started. And he was losing money or whatever he would say. Like, at first I just kind of was like, well, stuff happens. It would be
so you guys shared money collectively and it would go disappearing from that?
Yeah, like we would both cover like everything for the kids, the bills and everything like that. And he would say, I lost it. And that happened a few times. I don't want to say that was an ongoing every week thing, but it happened every few weeks or every month or so. And this happened a few times. And then one time he said he lost his entire wallet with his entire paycheck. And that's kind of when I started thinking, like, is something going on here? But still, I didn't have any reason to believe otherwise. There was nothing else going on to make me think that something else was happening. So we just went on with our lives. And before I get into the last time that this money issue had happened, I wanted to bring up that in the year before Jesse went missing, he was doing well. He was excelling in everything, and he was the happiest I've probably ever seen him. He just got his license, which was a struggle for many years because he had problems getting proper identification. So he finally got his license. He got a promotion at his job. I got him a job where I worked, and he got a promotion there. He was very excited about that. He was doing a lot of things. We were both looking into colleges because we didn't want to spend our lives working in a factory. We want it better for our kids and everything. So there was a lot going for us. And then the last time that the money went missing, he told me that he owed this money to his brother, which I was like, okay. And when his brother came over and we were talking about it, his brother explained to me, because I was like, well, what could he owe all this money to his brother for? And his brother's explanation was that Jesse had owed him this money from a while ago, like years ago, when Jesse was probably a young adult teenager, for stupid stuff like cigarettes or cases of beer. And at that point, I was like, you're lying to me, because there's no way that he could owe you, a couple $1,000 for beer and cigarettes. And at that point, if he was telling the truth, he's Jesse's younger brother, so it wouldn't have added up, because he would be a child. Like, where would he have money to lend his older brother? And it just wasn't adding up. And that kind of leads into August 1st, when we had that final disagreement about it, and he went and started staying at his grandparents' house.
Okay, and just to make sure I understand quickly, so it was about a year, different amounts of money had gone missing. The situation with the brother, money went missing, and he said it went missing because he gave it to the brother, or he had lost money he was supposed to give to the brother? What?
Well, like in the beginning, he made excuses like that he just lost money or he lost his wallet, and he didn't say nothing about the brother. But then the last time he'd mentioned that he'd owed all this time, that this money was going to his brother.
Oh, I see. So so the brother was supposed to have covered multiple instances of the money going missing. Later on, he told you that was the reason.
Right, right. And they both said that that's what it was. And Jesse never ended changing his story about that. But I just didn't believe that. That didn't make sense to me for many reasons.
Okay, so you get in a little bit of argument. He goes and stays at his grandmother's house, his grandparents' house, right?
Right.
And how far is that from when he goes missing, when he went to his grandparents' house?
He went out there August 1st, and then he went missing the 11th. So it wasn't even 2 weeks, so 11 days. He was there.
And were you guys in? And by the way, I just want to say real quick, anybody that is talked about on this show, we make no accusations. Anything that is said is alleged. We're just trying to figure out facts on a case that nobody knows anything about. So if something is mentioned, there are no accusations that are being made. I just wanted to put that out there. It's all alleged. Okay, so for 2 weeks, so for about 10 days, from the 1st to the 11th, from when he went to his grandparents' house to when he went missing, were you guys in constant contact, or what was the situation for those 10 days?
Oh yeah, things like I said, he didn't really change his story ever about the whole money thing and his brother, but things were kind of still normal between us, aside from that he was staying out there. We still talked and seen each other at work. We still were hanging out, calling, texting. Everything was basically normal. We were doing things with the kids together. The last day that I actually physically seen him was August 8th. And we were coming home from my son's soccer practice. And one of the big things that I wanted to mention in these days before he went missing was that he started to act very different and not himself. He went from being very happy and to quite the opposite. He seemed and just looked like he was extremely exhausted. He seemed worried about something. And when we were driving home, I had brought up again, like, what's going on? And it went from like, nothing's bothering me, I'm okay. And then on that day is when he was like, I can't tell you. And then when I was dropping him off, he had said that, I said, I think you need to come back home and, we'll figure this out. And he said that he couldn't come back home right now, that he had to deal with something, but that we'll all be together again once he dealt with this, which made it seem, just kind of confirmed that something was going on, but I still had no idea. So that was still pretty upsetting.
Okay, so you had said the amount of money he owed his brother added up to like a couple $1,000s or whatever. So the total amount of money that went missing throughout all these circumstances was like $2,000 or $3,000. Is
I
that
would say that, yeah.
okay? And initially he says he's lost it. Then he says, "Oh, I apologize, but I owed it to my brother. I was paying him back."
Right.
Okay, and then he's staying with the grandparents. So then he tells you there's something really important I have to deal with. Basically, I can't tell you what. When did he tell you that? You said a couple days before.
Yeah, the last day I physically seen him on August 8th as I was dropping him back off at his grandparents'.
Do you have any inkling as to what he could have been referring to, or
At
have you
that
spoken to any
time
other family members that might?
At that time, no, but I was really concerned with how he was acting, and he seemed like he was really just worried, and he wasn't himself. And so when he said that, I was really upset. And I remember he called me like right after that because I left so upset. I just didn't know what to do, and he wouldn't tell me what was going on.
So, okay, and we'll get into that night. It was kind of strange with the switching of locations where he was and all that. But
Right.
if I understand correctly, so you think the money is very likely directly connected to his disappearance?
In the beginning, I didn't think so, but I think that it possibly can be now.
Okay. Um, okay, and we had spoken a little. I want to make something very clear to the audience. He was in no way, at least to your knowledge, involved in drugs as far as consistently. Like he never had a drug problem in his life. He wasn't like a drug dealer or anything as far as you know. But and you're like pretty positive of that. But you
Right.
said there were a couple. There was something that you think may play a part that you wanted to mention in regards to that.
Um, there's a few things where drugs were brought up during this whole thing, and I mean, one of the biggest rumors, now this is just rumors that I heard, was that he owed money. And
Like he
it's
owes
just,
money to someone else and says to his
yeah.
brother, "Hey, say I owe it to you so I don't get her worried or something."
Yeah, they didn't ever say like who, but basically they were implying like a drug dealer.
Right.
Um, but that's just another one of those things that doesn't make sense for so many reasons. Like he had a good job and everything, so I'm not sure how that would add up, or why if he owed money, why he just didn't pay it. But I mean, I guess that's part of, because I don't know what actually was going on, but I just thought that that wasn't normal. Like it didn't add up. The fact that he would have owed money to somebody,
Right.
aside from that money missing. I mean that kind of does, but at the same time, it just, to me, knowing him, it just didn't make sense.
So on the night he goes missing, when he says that he's kind of confused as to what mountain behind what school he's at. I'm assuming there are two schools there with similar looking mountains behind them or something like that. Is that the
Yeah, the one, they're across town from each other too. So
it would
um
be hard to mix them up.
right. And we were pretty familiar with those woods. I mean, at nighttime, I guess it'd be different, but since he was on foot, I would think like walking up to the mountain, he would still know where he was. So that's just another confusing thing that doesn't make sense. But yeah, he changed his location 3 times.
We had talked about a couple of things before this. Why do you think that could have been? Why do you think there was confusion on his part due to something, or because, like you
Um,
say, he should have known where he was, right?
yeah. I mean, I was told that Jesse, the day before the day before he went missing, that he was using meth,
Okay.
which would
I
be
was thinking
very,
something that sounds. I apologize for interrupting, but as somebody who this is somewhere around like my 180th interview, something like that, I can tell you in these kind of cases, behavior like that, especially if it's someone who doesn't do it often, who it might kind of hit him a little harder. That was my first thought, was possibly meth. It
right,
sounds to me like a meth. Again, no accusations. I don't know that, but that was my
right,
first inkling. Sorry, I just wanted to say that.
right. And I do agree with that. I agree that that is definitely a possibility. It would just be out of character. Like, I do think that that's a possibility along with a lot of other things, but it's just weird that he would happen to go out one day and say, I'm just going to go use these hard drugs.
Mm,
But it's possible. But that, I think, could have been one of the reasons why he seemed confused and
right.
why he possibly was so upset and frantic. The only other reason I can think of that why he would be acting that way is if, like, he maybe hit his head and had a concussion, because the whole call to me, there's so many things about it that still don't make sense to me.
Yeah.
If you want me to talk about any of them things.
Yeah, please.
Well,
Anything that you think is relevant, the floor is yours.
okay. Well, the first thing that he told me was to bring guns, which is weird because I didn't own guns personally, and at that point have never even used a gun before. He had a 22 rifle that was in his in his gun safe that I wouldn't have had access to either. So him saying that right from the get-go was odd. And then he said that he was in a tree with the 10 to 11 coyotes after him. And the thing that's important with that too is it was like silence in the background. I
Because
know coyotes are pretty loud.
he meant literally coyotes, the animal, not like, they call coyotes that drug people kind of, you know what I mean? Aren't they
Right.
called coyotes?
I believe that he believed it was the animal,
Okay.
but I didn't hear anything in the background. It was really silent. And it didn't even sound like when somebody's in the woods and you could hear leaves or the wind blowing or anything like that. It was just his voice. So that didn't really add up to me either. And like I said, him changing his location and stuff like that, like none of it really made sense. And then when I was gonna, because me and him, like I said, we knew these mountains pretty well. So when I asked him for a certain location, he could have told me a place that was a hangout or something like that that I would have known, and then I would have been able to go right to that area. But the phone hung up before that happened, and I tried to call back immediately a few times, and it just kept going right to voicemail. So I don't know if the either the phone died or it was broken. I'm not sure, but one of the other.
Yeah, and I have some questions about the phone also, but before we go into that, Done in Darkness asks, how far was the grandparents' house from their house, meaning your house?
It wasn't far at all. The best way to describe it without being confusing was on this mountain in particular that we're talking about, the one behind the high school. Um, it separates on one side you have the town of Tamaqua, and then on the very opposite side would be the area of Lewistown Valley that's rural, and that's where he was living. And I would say it would be no more than 2 miles from Tamaqua,
Okay.
so it wasn't very far.
It from your front door to the grandparents, 2 miles or
Yeah.
okay.
I might be a little off, but something like that. It wasn't far at all.
And they live in the Lewistown Valley.
Yeah, and that's even still considered Tamaqua.
Okay, so I mean, putting it all together in my head, of course, just
Right.
guessing, money goes missing. He tells you, he kind of changes his story, says it's my brother. Um, but then you get the whole confusion thing. It sounds like it's possible, at least, that for whatever reason, he got involved in drugs in some way. I don't know. That would explain the money going missing and the confusion.
Right.
And it sounds like he owed money to the wrong person. But here's the thing. Having said that, that is a scenario that could be correct. But wouldn't he say to you, if that was the case, if he just owed someone money, if he was as scared as he seemed to be, wouldn't he then come clean and be like, someone's after me, I owe money? Why would he say coyotes in that case?
Exactly. That's like the best thing you could say, because That's what a lot of people ask. And I'm like, you would think at that point, if he was really scared for his life, that like the way he was acting, that he would have just been upfront about anything that was going on. But I'm not sure. And maybe that's where drugs come into the confusion part of it. Because I don't know why he would say that if it wasn't. And the other thing is too is that mountain was searched heavily, and if there was any kind of animal attack, there would be a scene left behind. There would be clothing left
Right.
behind, and there was never nothing like that found at all.
Were both mountains searched?
Um, the search teams didn't search the elementary school mountains, but I did with my family and friends. But I can't say that it was. I mean, that one's even bigger than Sharp Mountain. So I mean, we went up there and searched, but the search teams never did.
Cat Lover says mental breaks can do that as well. She's saying that it doesn't necessarily have to be drugs; it could be mental break. She makes that point, and then she also asks, uh, "Did he witness something he shouldn't have? And could he have been an informant or something along those lines?" You want to address either
Um,
of those?
did
Obviously,
he
you don't know
witness
for sure but she's putting it out there as a possibility.
right? Did he witness something he shouldn't have? It's possible. Um, maybe that. I mean, that could very well be. I'm not sure what, but that could very well be. As for him being an informant, that's I don't believe that that's true.
Okay.
Uh, but I
I
mean,
think
I
she's just saying that because of the whole drug possibility.
yeah, yeah. What was the other one you said about?
No, that was she just said the informant, and then she had asked, did he witness something he shouldn't have?
Oh,
Of course,
okay.
you don't really know the answer to that, but I think she's just putting it out there as like maybe he saw something that night and was running from it, or something like
Yeah,
that.
like a
The
possibility.
coyotes just throws me off.
It does. And there's just I mean, those things are so noisy, and especially if there was that many of them, I would have heard that in a phone call.
Right, of course. Yeah, and I'm gonna sound like a real dummy here. Can coyotes climb trees? They can't, right?
No, I mean,
Okay.
not that I know of. I mean, I've talked to people. A lot of people tell me that that they won't do that to grown men. But I've talked to a few people that that's actually the same thing has happened to them, and I talked to one recently actually where the same thing happened to him, and it was in this area also, and that happened a while ago. He said
Uh,
when he was a teenager, and this was in the 70s. But so it is possible, although they're not known to act in that way.
Yeah, I think like a grown man could fairly easily handle one coyote. He'd get, bit and scratch, have to go to the hospital. But I just saw a video a couple of days ago of a guy who ran to save his little puppy that coyote was attacking, and he just lifted it up by the tail, and the thing pretty much went limp like a shark does when it goes upside down. So, like
Right,
a person could handle one coyote, but yeah, he said 10 or 12. I mean, that would be a whole different.
right.
Um, if they, so they are known to do that in that area. Dun and Doctor says, did his grandparents see him that day, the day he went missing? And you said yeah. So when did the grandparents last see him? And you said you last saw him, was it the 8th?
I last seen him on the 8th. His grandparents last seen him on the 10th, the day before. He actually suddenly, from what his grandfather told me, he had plans of going to work that day. Me and him actually had plans of meeting up at work to see each other before he started when I had finished. And his grandfather was going to give him a ride. And he said that Jesse told him at the last minute to take him into town. So I was waiting at work for him, and he stopped like responding to me. And yeah, he got dropped off in town, and his grandfather was like concerned about that too. That it was just odd for him to do that, and we don't know why what happened that changed his mind to change his entire day that day.
And did the grandfather have anything else? Because you had said he was acting weird for, or let's say different, sorry, for at least a few days. Did they say anything about the 10 days he was living with them? Did they notice that as well? Or
His grandfather did tell me that that day that he gave him a ride, that Jesse mentioned something to him, and I can't remember. I do have it written down in notes somewhere, but he said that he did mention something that was odd to him, and I can't remember, like I said, word for word what it actually that Jesse said, but something to do with being involved, not involved. I don't want to say that. Almost like accepted, like being like accepted into something. And his grandfather, like Jesse thought that his grandfather would more or less understand what he was saying, but his grandfather said, like, I didn't know what he was talking about. And I don't really know how to explain that any better, but he said that that was really odd to him, that he said that to him. And I have no idea what that meant either.
Can you say that one more time? What he said to the grandfather? I missed the actual thing he said because I was pulling up a comment. What did he say to the grandfather that he thought was odd?
He said Jesse said something to him about being like like I don't even know if accepted was the right word, but it's
Accepted.
something about him being accepted into something, like almost like into a group or something like that.
Huh. I mean,
And we
that
both
would
find that odd, but I have no idea, like, and neither does he, of what that even could have meant.
is your thoughts that it could be being accepted into this group that could be, like related to drugs or whatever. Is that what you're thinking? Or
I
I don't
mean
mean to
that's
keep going back to that, but
I mean, it's crossed my mind, but I just don't know that he would, like I said, because it would the whole drug thing was out of character, unless like he was just turning his whole life into this, flipping his whole life into this at that point. But I just don't, I don't know. I don't see him doing that, but I've thought about that.
well, because the thing that I think is, not only have I dealt with a lot of these cases, but just people I know in my personal life. Um, the money was also out of character for him,
Right,
and
right,
that had started for about a good year. So it seems like whether it's that or something else, something was changing because he was
right,
already doing things out of character aside from that, right? The
right.
money. So that's what. But um, if not something related to drugs or anything like that, do you have another avenue of that you think is a very good possibility of what else could have happened, or are you just kind of like aiming at the wind at this point? You don't really know.
At this point, there's just so many possibilities. I mean, I listen to anything anybody has to say, but I mean, I have thought about like the whole drug scene and that scenario. I mean, there's so many rumors about horrible things that I've heard that people have done to him, horrible things that have happened to him. But you also have to consider the area that he claims he was at when he went missing. And I mean, there's so many mine shafts or mining pits and those air shafts, and
Yeah.
he could have fallen into something like that. I mean, but I still think that something would have been found by now if that was the case, or some kind of sign that, whether it would be his bag or something or anything that would, I just, or, and the same thing with an animal attack, like that's a possibility, but then there'd be evidence of that. So there's so many different things to look at.
I want to thank you so much to Boston Actress for the super chat. We appreciate you so much. I want to ask you about the phone as well as the underwater search. I have a couple things I want to ask there, but first I
Okay.
just want to go over a few comments.
Okay.
First is from Marissa. So she says, "I wonder if his grandmother knows anything living there. Maybe she noticed something going on."
She didn't say anything to me, about it. And I mean, me and her had talked. I called her the night after he called me for help, and I was calling everybody. Um, and she didn't say anything to me. The only thing that I had thought about, like I said, the last day that I know that he's seen them was on the 10th. But on the last sighting of Jesse was on the day he went missing at about 7:20 p.m. And he was seen walking on the road that was the in-between road. It's called the S curves, and it's the road that you could take from Tamaqua to Lewistown Valley or vice versa.
He was seen
And
walking there when? I'm sorry.
he was seen walking there about 7:20 p.m.
That
on
day.
the day
Okay.
he went missing. And he was seen by a childhood friend of his, so it was a credible sighting. And he said he seen Jesse walking with his backpack on, and he was heading into town. So there's a lot of confusing things with that also. Like, where was he coming from? If he was coming from Lewistown Valley, you would think he was coming from his grandparents, which would mean they seen him the day he went missing, but they didn't ever say that to me. Um, Other than that, I don't really understand why he'd be walking in that direction when all day on the 10th and into the 11th, he was actually in the town of Tamaqua. And if you actually would look on a map, that where that road is at the very end of the high school mountain there. And to me, it was only an hour and a half from that sighting to when he called me for help. So what happened? Where did he go? What happened in that amount of time that his whole demeanor changed? You know what I mean? He went from being okay to extremely upset and afraid. And I mean, that's like another big question. And also, if he was walking in that direction towards town, why did he backtrack then and decide to go up onto that mountain?
Right.
So, I mean, there's so many questions and so much doesn't make sense.
Down in Darkness says a good point in relation to what you just said about him being on the mountain. She says, if someone was after him, I feel like sorry guys, and my allergies. If someone was after him, I feel like he wouldn't have tried to get Rachel to come to him and put her in danger like that, just based off of how his personality is described. That was something I was starting to think is based off of everything I'm kind of hearing about him. Maybe he would have told you somewhere different because he's worried. He knows Rachel's going to come if I tell her where I am, and I'm going to put her in trouble too. Maybe
Right.
he was telling you somewhere. Have you thought about that?
Yeah, somewhat. I think that that is an excellent point because I
Uh,
think too that at that point, I think that once he got a hold of me, he thought, she's going to come get me. I'm going to be okay, no matter what was going on with him at that point. I think that that's what he thought. Like, she's coming, I'm going to be okay. And maybe then he, didn't have to explain at that point, like if anything else was going on, like if there was somebody after him, or else like what was said that he didn't want to put me in danger or something like that. But I do think that that is a good point too, because I do think that that he wouldn't have asked me to meet him if he thought somebody was going to be there that was going to hurt me. But it also makes me think too about the when he said to bring guns,
right.
with him knowing that I don't have guns or ever used one. Somebody had brought that up to me, and they said maybe he said that because he wanted somebody to overhear him saying that.
Yeah.
And
All true. True. Yeah.
that was the only good point that I could ever figure out about the whole gun part.
Because to me, if I'm putting myself in his mind right there, if it's people, I might not tell you because I don't want to drag you in and get you in trouble too. But if it really is coyotes, I might tell you because I'm going to be thinking you're going to come in a car, so you're really going to be safe unless you get out of the car. I'm thinking stuff.
Right.
So maybe it was coyotes, but yeah, you don't hear any barking or whatever sound they make in the background. It's just all so strange.
It is.
Marissa says, I'm confused about him changing his location, if he was even in that location. Was it on GPS, like Find My Friends, or was it just him saying where he was? No, it was just him saying where he was, right? You didn't
Yeah.
have to do it. Oh, okay. So I wanted to ask you some questions about the cell phone. This links into that really good. Have you done any, checking of GPS, any phone records? Have you called phone companies? Have police, anything tracing the phone? Have they found the phone? What's going on with
Um,
the phone?
they haven't ever found the phone. They did get phone records. They did ping his phone. They pinged his phone and it hit off two towers, one tower on the high school mountain and one tower on the elementary school mountain. And they told me from
Oh,
there that from each tower point that there's a 2 mile radius around each tower. So I've actually been, and I think I was telling you about this, Jason, like doing different mapping things when it comes to these pings because I've been trying to pull in other towers from that to see if I could
right.
get it to, make a smaller location. Um, So that's all I was ever told about the location. He had a very new phone at the time, so I'm not sure why they couldn't get a more accurate location. You would think that they could get, at least be able to narrow it down further. But that's another one of those things like I was talking to you about is I don't know if when a phone pings, if it has to be on the provider that his phone was on, if it could ping off any tower. That's actually something I'm in the process of working on right now.
So it pinged off one tower is at one school he said he was at, and one tower was at the other school? Or
Yeah, yeah.
wow, jeez.
Which was oddly like the two locations that he was switching back and forth from.
Yeah, of all places for I could see it being in one, but both of those, that's kind of odd.
It is, yeah.
Um, huh. Chris Gideon says, could someone have picked him up from the, could someone have could someone have picked up stuff from the location? I'm thinking he means picked him up from there. But you were there within 5 minutes, right?
Yeah. But like I said too, that just on the high school mountain itself, it's not far from where our apartment was, so I was able to get on that mountain quickly. But that whole area runs for about 4 miles before it hits another road. So we did search it as well as we could, and but it say he was at the very end of that 4 miles, and it would have took me longer than 5 minutes to get to that area. But yeah, there was just no sign of him.
Cat Lover says just the fact that she thinks the backpack was placed in the tree. I want to go over that as well as some of the underwater stuff.
Okay, sure.
And maybe it wasn't even his. It makes me think someone else was there or he placed it himself. That's confusing. Yeah, so let's go over that. So you said you're not sure the backpack is his. Tell me about the backpack, everything that has been reported about it, and why you think it might not be his. What's going on with that?
There's a lot to deal with this book bag. It was found in December of 2016, so basically a year and a half after he went missing. I was called when that happened, and I was supposed to get a call back about looking at the bag and different things, but they never called me back. And from what the story is that a hunter was tracking a deer, and he found a pair of sweatpants at the bottom of a tree, and when he looked up, this bag was in the tree. And supposedly he had known Jesse's grandparents, so he called them.
Oh.
And they all went to the location, and the bag was then taken to the police, and the police said that, they released it to his mother. They never kept it for evidence or any kind of testing like that. And I've always been trying to see this bag because, like I said, there's just multiple reasons why I thought something's not right. I don't think that that's his bag because I was up there a few times, and one of the main reasons is that to get to that area, it takes over an hour to climb up there. It's really hazardous to try and get up there. And I just keep thinking, like, if he was running from anything at all, that he would have been caught trying to get up there. It would have took some time. And even if he did get up there, even if he climbed a tree, put the bag in the tree, where would his body be now? Right. There's nothing found but this bag. And
so you've never even seen the bag. His mother has it?
His mother has it. And another thing is that they identified it by a pin. And when I heard that, the thing that was weird about that is that I knew what pin they were talking about, and my son has that pin. So immediately I'm like, that ain't right either. But recently...
Like a pin that goes on your shirt right here, a pin?
Yeah, he used to put pins on his bag. And there was this specific pin that his grandfather gave him. And when they mentioned that that's how they identified the bag, I was like, wait a minute. My son has that pin, so that doesn't make sense.
But do you think maybe your son, because your son also has that pin, could that point towards it being his because he had the same pin as your son kind of thing? Or
my son has Jesse's pin. Like, my son didn't have one of his own. He had the one that Jesse had.
Oh, so for a fact he only had one and he still has it.
Right.
Okay. And there's no way he had a second one. Okay, I see.
I mean, I don't believe so. Not that I know of.
Does it? Does his mother believe it's his, or she's not 100% sure? Or?
She does believe that it's his.
Okay.
Um,
Because of the pin, basically.
right. And it was last year. His mother, like I said, his mother would never let me see the bag, not even a picture. I tried to see if police would let me see a picture, but they didn't even have any pictures. And his mother put out like this. Somebody had mentioned it to me, and his mother, I don't know what it was, but it was a post of her and one of her sons, and they had a picture. His brother was holding a picture of him and Jesse as a child in this exact location, and they had like a pair of boots and this book bag. And I ended up finding out that that bag was the one that was supposedly found that day in the woods. And so that would have been the first time that I seen this bag. And when I seen it, I immediately knew it wasn't his bag, and those also weren't his boots. So I was hoping that
You knew it wasn't his because you had never seen it?
I know more about his bag, I guess, than you know what I mean. I was able to tell by different things on the bag that it wasn't his.
Oh, because you know what his bag does. Okay, there's no
Yeah.
way he would have got like a second bag because he was at his grandparents or something. No.
Not to my knowledge, because like I said, he had that bag and he took it to work with him every day. And when we were living together,
Oh,
so
right. You
and
still work together.
yeah, and it was only a short amount of time, so I imagine it was the same one. I mean, is it possible he got another one? I guess, but I just don't see it. I mean, I'd like to still see it in person one day, but I don't know if that'll ever happen.
Yeah. Just worth mentioning. Just to throw it out there, I try to cover both sides of every coin. Uh, if there was something, and again, I'm not going to keep going back to this because he has no history in it, so we don't want to frame him like that. But if there was something drug related that happened towards the end of this, it's very likely that he would have carried it in like a separate bag you wouldn't have seen. Just to kind of throw that out there,
Right.
he
Yeah.
probably wouldn't use like his bag with that people could identify and stuff. Just as something to consider.
Right.
Yeah. So you had said something about there were underwater searches done. Guys, you can tell me in chat. I'm having one of those brain fuzz moments. The group that does the underwater searches, guys, I've talked about them a
Adventures with
thousand.
purpose.
Thank you. I can't believe I couldn't think of them. I've talked to the guy on email and stuff. He's awesome. He's a great guy. But
They
it's
are
one of
very
those
cool.
moments. Okay, so they were the ones that did it, or I was going to recommend them.
Actually, I don't know if it was if they were the ones that did it. It was like a smaller group that came and they did a search of the pit that was actually really close to where the bag was found, and this happened right before the bag was even found. So I mean, the locations were right next to each other, but it was a big mining pit, and it was filled with water. And somebody had heard a rumor that he was in this mining hole here, and so they had a search team, and they ended up not finding anything in there.
Do you know when the rumor? It's funny. Every case that I do, there are always like a lot of rumors floating around. I always wonder if people do you know where the rumor comes from, or I always wonder where these rumors start.
I've heard so many things, like everything you can imagine. But one of my friends heard from somebody else that he was put in something like the mob, you would hear the mob do, something like cement with buckets, and he was thrown, in pieces into this water. And that's just one of a million horrible things that I've heard. But I let like the authorities know about that, and they went up there and they did a search, and they didn't find anything in there.
Yeah, unfortunately, when things like this happen, you get an array of people, everyone from people meaning well, but kind of saying stuff that hurts the case, all the way to people
Yeah.
that want to be jerks and give misinformation and make people feel bad. So you hear
Right.
everything when this happens, unfortunately. So I'm sorry you have
Yeah.
to go through that.
There's a lot of rumors out there.
Yeah, I agree. Done in Darkness says if someone was with him, excuse me, maybe he was trying to signal that something was wrong without actually saying it by asking her to bring the guns, since he knew she did have access to guns.
That's a
Yeah,
great
but
point.
But then again, saying bring the guns would kind of say show that something was wrong, right?
Yeah, I
You-
think that that's a good point, though. Maybe, yeah, like I think she means that he said that trying to alert me that something was wrong without possibly alerting others around him that something was wrong.
Yeah, yeah, it could have been for that, or like yeah, like has been said, he could have just been saying it, hoping someone else heard it, or yeah, I
Oh,
mean,
yeah, yeah.
that's the thing is every point we talk about, it feels like you can go any way with it, right? Because there's nothing to kind of hold on to.
Right. I call it like a spider web, like one little
Yeah,
thing
exactly.
stems off to a million other things, and it's really hard to get like any solid information. There's just a lot of unanswered things.
Boston actress says those pictures are precious. Thank you,
Thank you.
Boston. Uh, Adventures with Purpose only does it if there's a car, from my understanding. You're right. That's correct, Eugenia. Uh, yeah, so there was no car, so yeah, it wouldn't have been them. They don't, because I think the software they have or whatever has to like bounce off metal, I think is what it
Yeah,
is.
like some kind of sonar thing.
Yeah, yeah. So, but it's good that some looks like somebody did some underwater searches.
Mm.
They won't do it if it's any idea that it may be a crime. Okay. Did his parent? Marissa says, did it? She asked, did his parents or grandparents have life insurance on Jesse? I don't. Yeah, I'll ask that. We try to just so everyone knows. We try to kind of cover every angle. So um, I hope we're not trying to offend anyone or anything like that. But
Right. I don't. To my knowledge, I don't think so. But that would be something I don't know for sure.
yeah. Let me see, cat lover. Yeah, so cat lover reminds everyone always establish set code words. Like my best friend and I have set code words only we know. We know each other 24/7. Yeah, that's a good point. It's good to
Right.
have code words so when you call someone, if you need to alert someone something's going on, but you don't want a person with you to know, it's good to have code words or code
Right.
phrases.
And that's another good point too, because a lot of people like I think we did talk about that. Like that could he have possibly said what he said and meant something completely different?
Yeah,
And that I mean, it's something that I think about often. And yeah, I mean, is it possible? I think so, but at the same time, like if you're that desperate for help, like would you really like say something that isn't the what is happening? Like, why
right.
wouldn't you just say what is exactly happening at that time so you could get help as quick as possible? But
Yeah, if it's that, if you're in that much danger, like he obviously seemed to be in, yeah, I think you'd just kind of get right to it. What, and also the reason I kind of didn't fully agree with when the question when it was asked, I just feel like if I'm gonna try to alert you that something is wrong, um, saying guns, I feel like is gonna it's gonna let everyone's instantly gonna pick up like guns. Whereas I'd
yeah,
be trying to say something like, "Did you leave the coffee on the stove?" Well, no. Is the coffee still brewing, or you leave the
yeah,
food on the stove? I kind of combine the sense. I just feel like I don't know if that would if he brought up guns. I don't. To me, that's not. Doesn't seem like it would be a code, but again, who knows? I'm just
yeah. I think you're right about that. I don't think that that would be a code necessarily, but it definitely would be something like to get your attention and think
yeah,
something's wrong. So that is a good point.
for sure. So okay, cat lover asks. I think you answered this on your blog on the webpage there. She says, "Why wouldn't he just call 911?"
I mean, that is a really good question. And I think I thought of that a lot of times too. And I think like I said, me and him were really close, and I know that he knew that I would come in the drop of a hat, like
Right.
whatever he needed, I would come, and I would do my best to protect him or to help him, and I would have got there quicker
Yeah.
than anybody else. Like I ran right out the door. And I think he, like I said, he knew that, and he knew that I would be there. So, it's sad to say, like, whatever happened, he was waiting for me to get to him.
See, to
But,
me, oh, I'm sorry. I thought you did.
no, go ahead.
I was going to say, to me, it seems to point to, like, maybe he did think he was in that much danger, because, like,
Mm,
I'm not calling the police unless I think, like, my life is in absolute danger. I don't want to get involved in all that. If it's just something where I feel like I could call, my girlfriend, I just got to kind of get out of there and clear my head. That's what I'm going to do. I'm really only calling the police if I have to, if I feel like I'm in big, big trouble here. So
right,
the fact that he called you might points to me, maybe, obviously he knew he was in some kind of trouble. Maybe he didn't realize it was as
right,
serious as it ended up being. Maybe he
right.
would have, because I think he would
Possibly.
call the police then.
I actually had thought too that maybe, because I often wondered, like, he said his phone was dying, and like I said, with that whole sighting and whatever happened in that short amount of time between that sighting and uh him being so frantic, and I was like, whatever happened, why did he wait till the last minute to call me? Like, obviously something must have happened leading up to that call, so why it just so happened that his phone dies at that moment? Like, what are the chances? And I don't know, it just bothers me because I, like, you know what I mean? I just don't understand. He could have called whatever was going on. He could have called before he was in that state and told me, like, that he needed help, and I don't know.
No,
It's
I
very
understand.
confusing.
Um, I always ask this. This is kind of a question that has to be asked on every case. Is there any chance he just needed to get away, or is it the kind of thing where it's like, no way would he not talk to his kids for, is there any chance that he just needed to get away and that's what's going on here, or what are your thoughts on that? That's something we kind of have to ask,
Right.
every situation.
It's something that I have, like I said, I look at all possibilities, but if I had to guess, on knowing Jesse, I would say absolutely not. I mean, I've said this before, like, if he is out there and he had to leave for some reason, I wish that to be true, because I hope that he's
Right.
okay. I hope he's safe. I hope nothing happened to him. But even if that was the case, I strongly feel that he would have reached out at some point, and he certainly wouldn't have stayed away for this long. So I don't believe that he left.
Okay.
I don't think that he would leave his kids that long, or
Yeah, because you made a point that he was, pretty active in their lives, right? He was,
yeah, he was a good dad.
yeah. So to me, that's always. I mean, you never know. Like I said, that's why sometimes you have to ask kind of the uncomfortable questions, just because you have to cover every angle. But
Yeah,
to me, that's, like, I would say 99 times out of 100. That's kind of like the main test. If they're, a good parent, and they disappear, um, that's the thing I go by. If they're not even calling their kids or anything, then that's when something else might be
yeah,
going
it's
on.
like one of those things you hear before, like I've seen on other shows, like an everyday mom or whatever, and the child's birthday goes past, and then you're like,
Right.
something's really not right.
Exactly. Yeah. But just to keep things positive, to keep hope alive. Let me tell you, I've dealt with multiple cases where in the back of your mind you're thinking something like that, like, there's no way they would have did this and not talked to the kids, or there's no way they would have did this in this situation, and they turn up alive and fine, and it's
Right.
shocking. I actually, I don't want to give too many details on the case, but a long time ago I did one with a mother, and her son he was from the east, he had moved out west, and he was homeless out west. And she said, he calls me once a month, and I send him, like, however many, I think like $500 or something. And she said, he's homeless. I'm like his only connection to the world. So, and he gets a free $500 every month just by calling me. She said, absolutely no way. So she said, unfortunately, I believe my son, is gone. And sure enough, about 8 months later, he turned up perfectly fine.
Right.
So
Yeah, I've seen that a few times in cases too. And the only thing I could think of is if there was some reason that he had to leave because he was in fear of his life, and that's why he can't contact us. But at the
that's
same
what
time, I
that's what
don't
I was
see
leaning
him.
towards. Yeah.
Right, but I don't see him at the same time leaving his family in possible danger or letting us suffer like this. Like, knowing him, he would not
Yeah.
do that.
Like you think even if something did happen where he makes an agreement with someone, all right, I'll get out of town, just don't hurt my family, you think he would have called you and told you something
Oh,
going
absolutely,
on,
yeah. Oh,
or his
one thing I
mother or somebody.
right. I did want to mention too that in the phone records, I think it's important is that he had multiple calls before the call to me for help, to his bank to check his balance. And
Oh,
at that point, on the day he went missing, he didn't have anything in his bank account, and that was on a Tuesday. And we both would have got paid the following Friday, and he knew that. So it's another odd thing that why would he keep calling his bank when he knew money wasn't going to be deposited till the end of
right,
the week? And then when that money was deposited, it was never touched. So I think that that's a good point to bring up as well.
right. Yeah, that was actually going to be one of my last questions. So yeah, they have checked bank records and there's been no activity, obviously, right?
No, and and we don't know the reason why he was calling that repeatedly.
Yeah, that's really odd. How many calls were there right
I
before he
think there was
called
a
you?
few before. I think there was a few during the day, but there was like three on top of each other, like right before the call for help. So all I could think of is, you can only guess. So the only thing I could think of is if he called somebody and asked them if they deposit money for him and he was waiting for that money to be put in there, or if he was trying to make somebody else believe that he had money in the bank. I mean, those are the only things that I could think of why you would do that when you know that there's nothing in there and there's nothing going to be in there until later in the week.
Right. And you were his very last call, right? Because then it went dead very shortly after.
Yeah, there was no activity after that.
Huh. Okay. So we had talked when we were kind of doing the setup and everything. Oh, second here. Do that and then pull me up. Just give me 1 second. Sorry. Yeah. I told you that we were going to kind of do a little section at the end, towards the end, where I'm going to just kind of put you on screen. Obviously, not on screen in this case, but I'd like for you to make an appeal to directly to anyone who may have information. I'm going to kind of sit off to the side. And if there's somebody out there listening that's thinking in their head, I know some info, but I don't want to say anything. I don't want to get in trouble. Speak directly to them. Let them know what this has done to you, what this has done to his mother, to his family, what it would mean for you to get some kind of resolution in this, whatever it may be. Kind of speak directly to them, and
Okay.
or even someone that maybe they know a little bit of info, but they're thinking, they probably already know this. Let me tell you something to anyone out there. If you're just assuming the family knows everything you know, don't assume that, because you'd be
Right.
shocked how many times they don't know something. So you might have two or three little pieces out there that you fit into the puzzle and solves everything. So please always
Exactly.
come forward. And towards the end, we're going to give you guys all the places where you can give information, whether it be to Rachel directly or his pages, or we'll go on the flyer and get the police information, all that. So we'll do that in just a moment. But I'd like to put you on alone and give you as much time as you need to appeal directly to anyone and let them know how they could come forward and what it would mean to you.
Okay. I'm asking anyone who knows anything to please come forward. You could always remain anonymous if you wish. On my website for Jesse, there is an option to submit any information and still remain completely anonymous. It could be anything at all, something that you might have heard, or maybe you happen to see Jesse before his disappearance. How did he seem to you? Please keep in mind that anything, even very small, could be very helpful. You might think it isn't relevant and it could tie everything together, and I've had that happen before. It's also incredibly helpful when people come to me with their own thoughts and ideas. A fresh set of eyes never hurts, and it's much appreciated. I know sometimes in situations it is hard to truly understand what it's like to have a missing loved one, what you go through, and the desperation. I don't wish it on anyone, but if you do have any info and you are afraid to come forward, I beg of you to place yourself in my family's shoes. Imagine someone you can't live without, and they call you to come help them, to save them, and then you never hear from them again. You live with that every day, his fear. I just want to bring them home. Our children deserve to know where their father is. They don't deserve this, and I hope someone out there knows something that could possibly end this suffering. Thank you.
Okay, thank you so much. I took me a moment there. Great job. If anyone who's out there, please really heed these words. I am telling you, do not assume that police and or family knows what you know. If there is any little bit of information that you have that you think could be helpful, please come forward. Like she says, you wouldn't believe, this is my 180th case, somewhere around there. All the time do I talk to a mother, a brother, a sister, a wife, a girlfriend, boyfriend, who says, oh my God, I didn't even know that. And people say, how could you not know that? And I know that. You wouldn't. Information is funny. It goes from this person to that person to this, and it gets all mixed up. Like Rachel said, it's kind of like a giant spider web. And sometimes people just are missing a piece. So if you know anything, please come forward. I have the link to, let me see here. Let me go under. So I just want to make sure I have all the correct links. So I have the Bring Home Jesse Farber webpage, as well as the Finding Jesse Farber Facebook page. Those are your only two pages. Are there, I'm not going to do it right now, but I can update it once we finish up. Are there any other pages I should have on there that I'm not thinking of?
I just have my normal profile on Facebook, or I have, like TikTok page for him and stuff like that. If you wanted that.
Okay. You mean the RCC one?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, you could send me any links that you want me to update it with.
Okay.
Excuse me, and we'll put it there. Let me go. Give me 1 second here. I want to go and go to. I think that is it the Tamaqua police that somebody would call with information?
Yes.
1 second. All right. Let me pull up the pictures here. There we go. Can I scroll in on this? There we go. So, I don't know if you know it offhand.
The phone number?
Yeah, sorry.
Yeah, it is 570-668-5000. That would be the Tamaqua police.
Okay. Oh, yeah. The flyer also has a number for his family, too. So anybody, since I'm not speaking to them, I don't know if they want me announcing it, so I won't.
That's my contact number, basically, so that's okay.
Oh, okay. I'm sorry. So 570-789-3007?
Yes.
Okay. And so Jesse is real quick. I've been showing you guys pictures of him, but some of you are just listening. So again, he went missing August 11, 2015 in Tamaqua, Pennsylvania, after a frantic phone call for help. Jesse, he was 29 when he went missing, right? What would he be now?
38.
38. Okay. Well, hazel eyes, short brown hair. He's 5'6", 130 pounds. And if you're watching, this is he. Keep in mind, guys, his hair could be very long now. It's been, 8-9 years. So, but you see the facial structure and everything. So keep an eye out. I was going to say, especially if you're in the area. And before I say that reminds me, somebody said something about a church. Thank you so much to Andrea M for the $6.99 super sticker. Thank you so much, guys. Hang on Woods. Okay. Done in Darkness says, Do they have any searches planned? My parents live like 20 minutes from Tamaqua, so we're out that way a lot. Check out her channel, guys. It's Angie. She has an awesome true crime channel as well. So check her out. But yeah, she's asking, are there any searches planned, either you or the family or anything like that?
Yeah, we're actually we're planning to do something like early spring, hopefully before like the trees all bloom and everything. But yeah, it's mostly just my family and friends. I try to get anybody involved who would want to, join us. That'd be great. But yeah, I will announce like when that first search of the year will be. It'll be in the springtime, and I appreciate everyone's help.
Yeah, guys, again, expand the description below the video. There's a couple links there right now, but once this is uploaded, I'm going to put her Facebook page so you can contact her directly if you want to be involved in any searches, anything like that. All the correct information will be there to contact her. Cat Lover says, do they have any options through Crime Stoppers as well? Meaning about tips and information.
I was actually just in contact with Crime Stoppers, and they were going to make, their own missing flyer and, put his information out there also. And I've been waiting for a call back from the Tamaqua police to get that rolling. So it should be up soon. But as of right now, I still have to wait for the police to get a hold of them about that. But it should be soon, hopefully.
I thought Crime Stoppers, you could just give a tip about any case. Does it have to be like a registered case?
Oh, I think I assume that you probably could put a tip in about anybody, but like I wanted them to like feature him on their page, and they said that they needed police to do that. So.
Oh, I got you. Okay. Just a couple people giving support. Done in Darkness says that was perfect. Well said.
Thank you, everyone. I appreciate that. Every one of you. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you so much, Rachel. I admire your strength, praying for you and your children. So just a lot of stuff like that. Hey, Kelly, what's up? Love light. Andrea M says, I will go look for him. Oh, Andrea says, I will go look for him this year. We emailed before. I think Andrea said she's emailed with you before.
She does look familiar. Yeah, if you can, send me another email.
That's awesome.
That'd be great. All the help. I really appreciate any help at all.
I don't think I have your email there. Do you want to say it now? I'll put the link as well. But
I think it's on the webpage and everywhere. I think it's Bring Home Jesse Farber. It's all lowercase and no spaces at gmail.com.
Okay, Bring Home Jesse, and it's Jesse, right? No,
yes.
Just so
yes.
people know. Okay, I think that's pretty much everything on my end. Love Light says that face looks so familiar. Well, if you think of where you know it from, Kelly, that would be awesome. Please, any sightings, please let Rachel and the family and the police, everyone know right away. How tall is he? Asks Kelly. What was he? 5'6", was it?
Yes.
Yeah, 5'6", 130 pounds. So last comment, and then I just want to make sure you got everything you wanted to say. And Marissa says, hopefully you'll find him soon. If you don't, you should call news stations for the 10th anniversary for a vigil and a search. That's true. They do a lot of stuff like that, especially since the 10-year anniversary coming up. So that's a good point.
Yeah, definitely. That is a good idea. Thank you.
Thank you, Marissa, for that. Okay. Kelly says, I'm in Delaware. Okay. If you want help with any searches or anything, Kelly, just let her know. We'll have all the information under there shortly after the video uploads. Did we get everything out that you wanted to say? I just want to make sure we don't skip over anything that you feel is important, Rachel.
No, I think we covered everything that's important to his case.
All right, awesome. Hey, Lance, thanks for joining us, my man. No problem being late. So if you just joined us, just a quick summary. This is for Jesse Farber, who is missing out of Tamaqua, Pennsylvania, back on August 11th of 2015. All the information is in the description below, as well as all the relevant links. So if you're in the area, please keep your eye open. Or even if you're not in the area, who knows where somebody could be. And if you can help with any searches, if you're local or if you're going to be in that area anytime soon, all of Rachel's information will be listed below. So I thank everyone for joining tonight. I will let you go, Rachel.
Okay.
I'm just going to kind of wrap things up on my end, but thank you so much for joining us. And please let me know if there's anything else that I could do for you moving forward. I'm here for you. Okay.
Okay. Thank you so much for having me, Jason, and helping to spread awareness for Jesse. And I want to thank everybody who also listened in and gave some good, points and everything to help out and looking into his case as well. So thank you, everyone. I appreciate it. And thank you, Jason.
You're very welcome. Have a great night, sweetheart.
You too.
All right. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
All right, guys. Yeah. If anyone knows anything, please come forward. I can never imagine what it's like to be on their side, guys. Just absolutely awful. But thank you for joining us tonight. As you guys know, I have my allergies, so I apologize. I look awful tonight. I've been saying that all night. Thank you so much to real quick Boston actress for 1999 super chat, and to Andrea for her $6.99 super sticker. You guys rock. You're awesome. Eventually, we hope to have this up and running so it can support itself, and we can do this every single day, help out as many people as humanly possible. That's obviously the long-term goal. So thank you so much to everyone who donates and supports. All the links are in the description. Again, thank you for joining us tonight. I thought this ended up being a really, really good show. So peace, love, and happiness to everyone out there. And you all know how to reach me. All my information is below. And I will talk to you guys soon. Thank you for watching Jason Hebert Live. Prayers to the family of Jesse Farber. And let's try to help find him. Please share this link, guys. Comment on the video below. Share the link on Facebook and anywhere you can. That makes all the difference in the world. Seriously. If there's one thing you could do to help that is more important than others, it's sharing this video. The more eyes we get this in front of, the better. Because I was gone from YouTube for so long, our numbers are kind of pretty down. So we're kind of building our way back up. The way to do that is for you guys to share the video. It makes more people watch, and it tells YouTube, oh, people watch this video. Let's advertise it to more people. And it's a chain reaction going up and up and up. Super, super important. Please, please, please share this, okay? All right, I love you guys. Thanks for watching Jason Hebert Live. Have a great night. Take care.